Hello everyone, it is Mike from ManaHoarders. If you are one of our newer viewers, welcome. If you are one of our returning viewers, it's nice to have you back. In this video, we'll be covering a commander deck tech for Narset Enlightened Exile. You can cast this commander for 1, a blue, a red, and a white. You get a 3/4 legendary human monk. Her abilities are, creatures you control have prowess, which is pretty amazing, and whenever she attacks, exile target non-creature, non-land card with mana value less than Narset's power from a graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. For those of you who are not too familiar with prowess, that ability reads, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Now the fact that Narset grants it to all of our creatures is going to be the backbone of our strategy. Now with the second ability, it is important to note that she can only gain that benefit when she attacks. So we have lots of small spells we can cast that target her and give her different forms of evasion, making it more difficult for our opponents to simply block and take her out. And the final part of our strategy is to flood the board with as many tokens as we can. Now it may not seem too impressive to have a board full of 1/1s, but again, with Narset's ability, they are going to gain prowess. So as the game goes on and we cast tons of spells, these 1/1s can become 2/2s, 3/3s, and even higher that we can use to take out our unsuspecting opponents and win the game. And before we dive into the deck, let's go over our price point. The final price for this build came in at $85.58. This does include the price of our commander and all of our lands. Now, do bear in mind, some of these prices will vary greatly depending on the quality of the cards you purchase, the vendor you use, and a variety of other factors. Now let's go ahead and dive into the deck, first starting out with our artifacts. We have Arcane Signet that taps to give us one color of our commander's color identity. Azorius Signet taps to give us a white and a blue. Bident of Thassa, whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to a player, we can draw a card. We can also pay 1 and a blue and tap it, and creatures our opponents control attack this turn if able. Boros Signet taps for a red and a white. Izzet Signet taps for a blue and a red. Levitating Statue has flying. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it gets a 1/1 counter, and we can pay 2 mana and it becomes a 1/1 construct artifact creature token until the end of the turn. Mind Stone taps for a colorless. We can also pay 1 and tap it and sacrifice it to draw a card. Sol Ring taps for 2 colorless mana. In Wayfarer's Bauble, we can pay 2, tap it and sacrifice it to search our library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Moving on to our creatures, we do have some legends helping out our commander. Dika Fractal Theorist. Whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put X 1/1 counters on it where X is the spell's mana value. Kaikar Wind's Fury, again, whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we can pump out these 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. And Shuyun the Silent Tempest. It already has prowess, and since this commander's ability grants our creatures prowess, I believe he'll get prowess, which means every time we cast a non-creature spell, he'll get +2/+2, but again, if someone can correct me in the comments, that would be very helpful. Also, whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we can pay a either white or a red twice, and if we do, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. And for our not-so-legendary creatures, Archmage Emeritus. Whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we can draw a card. Atmosphere Surgeon. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it gets an oil counter, and we can remove an oil counter from the Atmosphere Surgeon, so target creature gains flying until end of turn, but we can only activate this at sorcery speed. Chrome Host Seed Shark. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. Cruel Witness. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we look at the top card of our library, and we can put that card into our graveyard. Elusive Spellfist gets pumped up +1/+0 and can't be blocked. Firebrand Archer. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Ichor Synthesizer. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it gets an oil counter, and as long as it has 4 or more, it gets +2/+0 and can't be blocked. Kessig Flame Breather. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Mistfire Adept has prowess, and whenever we cast a non-creature spell, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Monastery Mentor, an absolute beast in this deck, of course has prowess, but whenever we cast these non-creature spells, we get additional 1/1 white monk creature tokens that also have prowess. Murmuring Mystic. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we can pump out these 1/1 blue bird illusion creature tokens that have flying. Serum Sovereign. It gets oil counters. We can also pay a blue, remove an oil counter from it to draw a card, and then scry 2. Shipwreck Dowser has prowess. Whenever it enters the battlefield, we can return target instant or sorcery card from our graveyard to our hand. Storm Kiln Artist. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we can get a treasure token. Strongarm Monk. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, creatures we control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Third Path Iconoclast. Whenever we cast our spells, we can create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Young Pyromancer gives us 1/1 red elemental creature tokens when we cast instants or sorceries. Zephyr Scribe. We can pay a blue and tap it to draw a card and then discard, and whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we can untap it. Moving on to our enchantments. Impact Tremors. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Again, for anyone who is running a token-heavy deck, which we are in a sense, this is actually very beneficial to rack up a ton of damage as the game goes on. Reconnaissance Mission. Whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to a player, we may draw. And Whirlwind of Thought. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. We will be including one Planeswalker and a personal favorite of mine, Saheeli Sublime Artificer. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Moving on to our instants, of which we have quite a few. Akroma's Blessing. We choose a color, and creatures we control gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. Azorius Charm. We choose one. Creatures we control gain lifelink until end of turn. We can draw a card, or put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. Dive Down. Target creature we control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof. Expedite. Target creature gains haste and we can draw a card. Guided Strike. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike and we can draw. Leap. Target creature gains flying and we draw a card. Lightning Blow. Target creature gains first strike and at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep we can draw. Mage's Guile. Target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. Master's Call. We create 2 1/1 colorless mirror. Midnight Haunting. We get 2 1/1 white spirit tokens with flying. Pack Attack. Attacking creatures get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of players being attacked and we can draw. Psychotic Fury. Target multicolored creature gains a double strike until end of turn and we can draw. Raise the Alarm. We get 2 1/1 white soldiers. Resculpt. We can exile target artifact or creature, but its controller gets a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Shadow Rift. Target creature gains shadow until end of turn, which in a sense is a pseudo unblockable, and we can draw. Shelter. Target creature we control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn and draw. Unwind. Counter target non-creature spell and untap up to 3 lands. And Updraft. Target creature gains flying until end of turn, and at the beginning of the next upkeep we can draw a card. Moving on to our sorceries. Bond of Insight. Each player mills 4, then we can return up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from our graveyard to our hand, and then we exile Bond of Insight. Cloak of Feathers. Target creature gains flying until end of turn and we can draw. Crash Through. Our creatures gain trample and we can draw. Dragon Fodder. We get 2 1/1 red goblins. Goblin War Party. We can choose one, or if we pay the additional 2 in a red, we can choose both. Create 3 1/1 goblins, and creatures we control get +1/+1 and gain haste until end of turn. Hordeling Outburst. We get 3 1/1 goblins. Krenko's Command gives us 2 more goblins. Kytheon's Tactics. Creatures we control get +2/+1 until end of turn, but if we have 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in our graveyard, those creatures also gain vigilance. Preordain. We can scry 2 and then draw a card. River's Rebuke. We can return all non-land permanents target player controls to their owner's hand. Sleep. We tap all creatures target player controls, and they don't untap during that player's next untap step. And Warlord's Fury. Creatures we control gain first strike until end of turn, and we can draw. And last but not least is our mana base. We are keeping things very basic, because basic usually equals budget. So with that in mind, we are running 12 basic mountains, 12 basic islands, and 11 basic plains. And just like that, we reached the end of this Commander deck tech for Narset Enlightened Exile. If you enjoyed this video, or if it gave you some ideas on how to build Narset yourself, or if you just really enjoy the sound of my voice, consider hitting that like button, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what commanders you would like to see me build around in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support.